Balboa Park. Spending time here reminds you of why people call this 1,200-acre expanse the jewel of San Diego. This lush setting is home to some of San Diego's cultural gems, repositories of everything from priceless works of art to some of the wonders of the industrial age and the miracles of science. For the institutions that house all of it, the months since March have presented challenges none of them have ever had to face before.
The closures have been a very difficult thing to overcome.
Michael Warburton works for the Balboa Park Cultural Partnership, an umbrella group representing most of the park's museums.
Some of the museums, this is their third time being closed. Some of the performing arts venues haven't had performances for the public since March.
Some of the institutions are financially healthy enough to make it through to the other side of this pandemic easier than others. But for most of them, the loss of their main source of revenue, ticket sales, has meant painful decisions.
Many of the organizations have had to go through furloughs and layoffs, really cutting back on things that they can perform or programming. It has been a challenge, needless to say, for the organizations in the park. And different challenges for different organizations in different ways.
It's definitely been an interesting and unique experience I never thought I would have to go through.
Katie Titus began her job as the San Diego Model Railroad Museum's marketing and community engagement coordinator in June, months after the museum had closed the first time around. The fact that the museum actually hired someone well into the pandemic was a good sign of the place's financial health. But
the train's not stopping anytime soon, but we're running low on coal.
The Model Railroad Museum is fortunate in one unique way. A lot of the people that work here are volunteers, folks that live and breathe model railroads. But Titus says the financial hit from being closed for most of 2020 has been considerable. Pre-pandemic, about 2/3 of the museum's revenue came from ticket sales. Titus says having that financial stream suddenly go completely dry meant museum management had to get very creative very quickly.
Our membership and development manager and our executive director have worked incredibly hard to find grants and other funding opportunities, but we're still in need of donations to help close the gap from 8 months of closure.
Of course, it's human nature to look for silver linings in dark times, and there are some to be found in the park. Some of the institutions in the park are taking advantage of this COVID downtime to do the kind of work that's really tough when there are a lot of visitors around. For example, the Timken Museum of Art, where they're doing some renovation work inside. Back here inside the Model Railroad Museum, the museum's railroad modelers are taking this downtime to make some really serious progress on a huge project. This has been years in the making. It's the Tehachapi Pass Railroad, and as you can see over here, things are still early on in the process. They're still building some of the scenery and doing some of the painting, but over here, they're much further along. You can see they have some of the scenery already done, and eventually, when it's all finished, it'll look pretty much like that. But for now, being closed means doing things differently. Like most of Balboa Park's museums, the Model Railroad Museum has had to execute a quick pivot into the virtual world.
We have 2 virtual exhibits. We have our online lecture series. We have member-exclusive events via Zoom. We had our first ever virtual summer camp, where we had campers from Pennsylvania, Florida, California, everything in between, learning how to build a model railroad. And we've even gone international, delivering distance learning programs to Canada.
With news of vaccines on the horizon, plans are being made at all of Balboa Park's museums and other attractions to reopen. But for now, just this place, the stunning beauty of Balboa Park, makes it a great place to spend some time.
If there's any place centrally located in San Diego where you can safely distance and enjoy gardens and a nice day out, this is the place.
Even with its beloved institutions closed, this is still the jewel of San Diego. John Carroll, KPBS News.